49-year-old suspect being arrested in connection with a fatal shooting of 6 people, which include 4 women and 2 men in Kraaifontein in Cape Town. It was revealed by the National Police Commissioner, General Fannie Masemola, during his visit to Kraaifontein. General Masemola also announced that in the past 7 days alone, a total of 180 illegal firearms, 4,165 rounds of ammunition have been seized nationally. Well, let's quickly get into that conversation and talk about the state of policing in South Africa. Ian Cameron, the chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police, is with us this morning. Chair, and thank you very much for your time. You know, what's happened again in Kraaifontein, I mean, this is people being now burnt to death. I mean, this is just a day after we've seen a high-level delegation going and visiting. What's going on?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Leanne. I'm sitting here now with more reports. Just to give you an idea, they just found a body in Bonteheuwel lying in one of the streets. There are several other incidents that happened throughout the evening. There was lots of shooting in Manenberg, shooting in Eastridge and Mitchell's Plain, Hanover Park, Valhalla Park as well. So what we're really seeing is a war zone rate of violent crime, and specifically gang-related gun offences. And it's clear to me that unfortunately there is no control. It's extremely frustrating to hear on the one side police say that they are fighting hard against this. But the reality on the ground, unfortunately, doesn't indicate that. When you speak to good career members on ground level, they complain that they don't have the resources that they need. They don't have enough vehicles. Just a few nights ago, I was speaking to members of the anti-gang unit, and they said to me that once again, a handful of them had to stay at the base because they're not allowed to use the so-called overtime vehicles to go and do their jobs. Extremely frustrating, and I think it begs the question whether there is adequate leadership in the province with regards to SABC.
And that I think begs, that is under the spotlight right now, is the adequate leadership. I mean, let's just bring the committee into question. I mean, you learnt about what happened yesterday. It's happened again overnight. I mean, was there a priority investigation opened? Did we go ahead and put a more hardline investigation into this and perhaps up the ante when it comes to police and security personnel that were there on the ground to try and alleviate the situation?
So even if the police had all the will in the world to try and fight this, they simply do not have the capacity. It's physically impossible, and they can try and say otherwise, but I can tell you now that we've just been through the budget process of the police. They literally do not have the capacity, so they cannot do that. You remember the previous National Commissioner, General Setole, at one stage told Parliament that they cannot fulfill their constitutional mandate. And there are, unfortunately, significant truths in parts of what he says. When we look at the Western Cape specifically, if we're not going to push to share investigative capacity and to share the burden with regards to investigating serious and violent crime, especially with regards to gang violence, I don't expect the tide to turn. We have to make sure that we broaden investigative capacity and intelligence capacity. Remember, Leanne, if you look at the numbers for the past few days, let's just say the first 10 days of September, just for the top 13 so-called gang stations in the Western Cape, we've already seen over 40 murders. That's just in the first 10 days of the month. So you can imagine if this is the way the month started, what would it look like in the next few?
There certainly must be links to a much broader criminal violence happening here, whether we talk arson, intimidation, if we're talking about hate crimes, collective intimidation, there's got to be more happening here. And I mean, as you say, there are a lack of resources, but people are dying, and you yourself have said that every life matters, and yet as you're saying it, people are being burnt to death.
Well, I can tell you that, for example, on a political level, my political constituency is a part of Mitchell's Plain. And without exception, at least 50% of the meetings that you have there, you can hear gunshots in the streets. That's how normal it has become. And I actually feel ashamed to say that it's become normal, because it should never be that way. The problem here is as well that the approach very often from the South African Police Service, and I said this in front of the Minister, National Commissioner and the Provincial Commissioner 2 days ago in Mitchell's Plain during the briefing there, that we constantly have this haphazard approach of just pushing more uniform members into an area. We want to make high numbers of low-level arrests, but we don't really see any proper convictions coming from that. And if we don't change that approach, we can't expect much to change on ground level. We need to focus on kingpins. We need to have a joint strategy with regards to what SARS, for example, does. The Revenue Service must play a role in cutting off the bloodlines of the kingpins of these groupings. Correctional services need to play their part. There are different departments that need to play a role. I think yesterday at least 3 students were stabbed at one of the schools, also seemingly gang-related. So it simply is not normal. And parking it just in front of the South African Police Service door is also not sustainable, and it's not fair. But what I can tell you is that, we've seen now the City of Cape Town has graduated just over 700 new Metro Police members this past week. They will now be disseminated or deployed in different high priority or high risk areas, and hopefully we will start seeing a pushback. But again, I come back to investigative, intelligence and forensic capacity. If we don't change that, nothing will change on the ground.
So I want to just, link this all to, the bottom line is that all of this has happened. I mean, we've got, we were also seeing what's happening at the moment in Westbury and Coronationville and all of the areas here. This is in the Johannesburg area. You're outlining what's happening in the Western Cape, and I can promise you that many other South Africans are waking up to this kind of situation elsewhere, and it happens all the time. Now, we've got an ad hoc committee that's investigating threats to South Africa's national security. We are in a war zone, literally. It's expected to start its work very, very soon, expected to be completed by the end of October. But then we get news that General Masemola not General Masemola, Nkhunazi has got other issues that he needs to attend to, and we have to deal within the background political theatrics while people are dying. How are you going to get your work done? What are you changing now with the scheduled conflicts, and what are we hoping to achieve out of this parliamentary ad hoc committee?
So in terms of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, I'm not mandated to speak on behalf of the whole committee, but as a member, I can share what my thoughts are. It's extremely frustrating that we haven't really kicked off yet with the actual interrogation or investigation process. Yesterday we had another meeting, and it just feels like delay after delay keeps hitting us. General Nkhunazi has already agreed with dates for the commission, the Judicial Commission, and to go and appear there. And therefore, it was indicated that he would only be able to appear in front of the ad hoc committee after the 22nd of this month. Also, a big political debate whether he should be first or not. The majority of people in the ad hoc committee feel that he should be the first one to appear. At the same time, there are others that say it doesn't really matter. We just need to kick off. If we start with others, it's also fine. The problem is that it is now the 11th of September. We're meant to finish on the 31st of October. And I can tell you now, at the current rate, that's not going to happen. There are already talks of changing the terms of reference of the ad hoc committee. And it shouldn't need to be this way. We were all available during the constituency break that Parliament had for about a month. We were all ready to work. Why wasn't it finalized during that time? So it's extremely frustrating. What we will do, and I can speak on behalf of the police committee, we will from our side, even though we can't interfere and won't interfere in that process, we will do what we can with regard to the other kinds of violence that we're seeing. We've already discussed this. Many of the members have sent their individual requests to me. So we will do what we can. But on the ad hoc committee side, very frustrating at the moment.
One would imagine. We're over time, but I've got to ask you one question. Any arrests you became a victim of crime recently, as well as other parliamentarians. Any arrests, just very quickly?
Well, tongue-in-cheek, my wife has kept me at home under home. She's arrested me, but no, there have been 2 out of the 3 have been arrested and charged, have appeared in court. As far as I know, the third one is still on the loose. But again, it's what so many South Africans face on a daily basis. I don't want special treatment. We need to push for everyone to see the same.
All right, we leave it there. Ian, thank you very much for your time. Ian Cameron, the Chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police, talking about the state of policing. And this is a big problem, and certainly what came from Police Commissioner General Fannie Masemola's media briefing yesterday as well. All right, it's 8. Let's get your news.